Okay, good evening. It is Thursday, May 4th, 2023. The time is 6:02, and I call the City of Maple Plain Planning Commission meeting to order. Please join me and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. First order of business, I either need a motion to accept the agenda, or if there are any additions, please.
I make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say the same. Ayes have it. 4-0. So, we need to review the minutes for April 6th, our Planning Commission meeting last month. Any discussion related to those meeting minutes or any additions, changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say the same. Ayes have it, 4-0. All right. So now we will be having a public hearing, but before we get into that too deeply, Mark, why don't you explain what's going on?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Commissioners. Tonight before you have a request for a minor subdivision to allow a lot split for the property located at 4890 Main Street East. The owners of the property are requesting that the city consider allowing a minor subdivision to split the property into two almost equal properties along a east-west axis that would run down the middle of the lot. So as you can see on the aerial photograph, you can see Main Street East on the south side, and you can see Independence Street on the north side of the property. There's an existing single-family home located on the south side of the property. And you can see the context of the area around this particular property and how the properties that are either east or west in this particular block of properties have been subdivided utilizing that same east-west axis in a very similar location to what's being proposed. This property is zoned R2A, single-family residential district, and it's guided by the city's comprehensive plan as low-density residential, which is 1 to 4 units per acre. The property size itself is 0.61 acres. And so the applicant approached the city. We've actually had a lot of calls on this property over the years about the possibility of subdividing the property. And there's a couple of notable things relating to that. Looking at this property as it relates to context, obviously you can see that all the other properties surrounding it have been subdivided in a similar manner. And so the city has lot standards for R2A. And those standards state that the minimum lot size for single-family residential properties is 10,000 square feet with a minimum lot width of 80 lineal feet. And so what they're proposing is to divide the property into two lots. And they provided the city with a survey that shows the split. And what you can see, well, I don't know if it's going to make it small enough. What you can see on the split is that they're proposing a new east-west line, the proposed dividing line that runs down the middle of that property, right here, that would split the property into two lots. One lot, the north lot being 13,216 square feet, and the south lot being 13,200 square feet, both with 80 lineal feet of frontage, and you can see that dimension on the plan. So we looked at that as it relates to the physical standards, and we looked at a couple of aspects of the existing house and whether or not the proposed subdivision would have any impact on the existing house and its conformance with applicable provisions. It looks as if that existing house meets all applicable standards. I would have to look a little bit closer at its side yard setbacks. But in any event, the rear yard setback as proposed with the lot split, which is really the only effective line that we're talking about, exceeds the 30-foot or 25-foot rear yard setback requirement. So it exceeds it by quite a bit, actually. So with that, it appears that both the existing lot having no new nonconformities and the proposed lot meeting the requirements of the city subdivision ordinance relating, zoning ordinance relating to R2A would make it seem to meet all the criteria and meet the requirements of the city. The one thing we always look at when you're talking about a subdivision is can the lot reasonably accommodate a similar house to what's, there? And of course, this lot meets all applicable requirements. And you could locate a house on this property that would meet all applicable setbacks of the R2A zoning district. Any new house on that property at the time of building permit would be subject to the review of the driveway location on Independence Road, and then we would also review the utility connections. There are no stubs specifically that we're aware of for that property, but there are utilities in the street to the north of that property, and they would be able to tie into those. We just have to permit that as a part of any kind of new home permitting that would occur. So with that, I'd be happy to talk any more detail or go into any more aspects about the zoning ordinance. And as you noted, Chair, it is a public hearing.
I need the time. Okay, so I am going to open a public hearing. The current time is 6:09 p.m. Anybody in the crowd want to step up to the podium and say any words at all?
Chair, did you see the email that came in late today?
I did not.
There's an email in regards to the subdivision. It was sent at 4:21.
Okay.
To who?
Do you have that? No.
Okay, it was sent to the mayor and council.
I
From
got a.
Ken Iverson. I can forward it to you.
Okay, yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Do we want to just maybe, could we read it in? Was it intended to be?
Well, it's about tonight's meeting, so he just addressed it to the wrong
Okay.
group. And it's kind of long. I mean, I can read it to you if you want, or I can email it.
Is it about the?
It's about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
we might want
Yeah,
to
we'll-
enter it if it was intended to be entered as part of the testimony for the public hearing.
Mm-hmm.
We would probably want to put on record for this.
Okay, because he starts by saying, "I'm sorry, I cannot be at the meeting tonight." So it's obviously for the planning commission.
Yeah. Yeah, if
Lives
it's,
kitty corner across the street, I noticed.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
He lives on the
Yeah.
northeast corner of Independence and.
Yeah, he lives in this
Perkins.
house here.
okay.
Well, do you want to print it, or do you want to read it to us, or how do you want to enter it?
I would read it since we don't
Read
have
it?
copies and none of the
Okay.
staff
Okay.
was copied on it, so.
Okay, I will read it. Regarding the proposed subdivision at 4890 Main Street East. That is the correct property we're talking about?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That will create a separate lot across the street from my house at 1668 Perkins Lane. I do not have an objection with subdividing the lot into 2 equal parcels, provided all of the following are true. Number 1, none of my other neighbors have any objection to the subdivision. 2, I will have the opportunity to object to any additional variances asked for in the present
or future by the current or new landowner. Number 3, there will be no restrictions placed on the street frontage of my property because of a future house/driveway across the street on the planned lot. To further describe my condition number 1, if, for example, Graham Rose has an issue with my subdivision because his family will be right next to whatever gets built there, then I will have an issue too. To further describe my condition number 2, if, for example, the new lot owner plans to ask for a variance to build a house that is not set back as far as the existing homes or is unlike the other houses, then I object to the subdivide. To further describe my condition 3, when a new driveway is added to the lot, I will continue to park on the street. The city of Maple Plain has to take responsibility for the amount and speed of vehicles on Independence Street. Note, the city still needs to address the completely unacceptable volume of traffic we see daily on what used to be a quiet residential Independence Street and now resembles an extension of a county road/highway, roughly 500 to 700 cars each day. This currently vacant, I lost my paragraph, vacant lot poses an opportunity for the city to come up with something creative to put there that is good for the neighbors and neighborhood. Maybe this lot is too close to the play equipment at the Discovery Center for another playground, but the city should take advantage and buy this lot so the neighbors could have another interesting use, like paddle tennis court or a cement-based roller hockey rink, for example. The city doesn't get this opportunity often, and this would make up for once buying a house/lot at a much higher price that became a transit parking lot that is now part of Haven Homes. Thanks. Ken.
Okay. Any other public comments or things to say? So before you start, please state your name and where you live.
My name is Brent McPherson. I live in St. Cloud, Minnesota. I'm here representing my mother who owns the property in question. My concern is that the house meets all the qualifications to be able to be separated. We would like to separate it. I grew up in Maple Plain when that was all apple orchards and forests, and everybody got to do what they wanted. And my mom now wants to sell the lot, and it meets all the criteria. I don't see why it shouldn't be approved. Just because somebody, sure, when I was a kid, I would have loved it if I could have said, well, I don't want you building because we want to keep our tree forts out there. But that wasn't our decision, and that's not this person's decision to say, well, I don't want that lot. Yeah, obviously they would rather nobody builds. Everybody loves it being open like that. But at this time, my mother's situation has changed, that she wants to be able to separate the lot. And I would say once somebody has bought it, that's not our concern. If they want a variance, that's for you to decide. That shouldn't affect being able to sell the lot independently. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
One question for you, do you have a buyer already in mind for the second lot if it is approved to be split?
We don't. And the problem has been for us is that I'm going to say it this way, in my opinion, the economy is tight. People that can afford that house can't afford the lot too. And people that want just the lot go, well, I don't want to buy that house. I want a lot where I can build a house. And So it's been a catch-22. We've been trying to market it for the last, what, 6 months?
Yeah, 5 months or so.
5 months, and it just, you know, it just, people want the lot, people want the house. We only had one person that was interested in both, and my sense it was a builder, and a lot of times builders like to buy stuff cheap, and we got an offer that was just not fair, and it wasn't reasonable, you know, so.
So you're actually in the process of selling the whole lot or the house?
We want
and
to sell the
whole thing?
house and
It's
the
on the
lot. My
market,
mom
yeah.
has
Okay.
moved to Haven Homes.
Gotcha.
You know, it just got to be too much for her,
Sure.
and,
Okay.
so.
I believe that empty lot was a city baseball field at one time.
Well,
I'm sure it was many things.
as kids, we played ball there a lot. We played hockey there a lot. Yeah, it was used a lot when
It
we were
was-
young, and the only reason something probably didn't happen sooner is my dad, you know, just being.
And I
loved
think
having
you
it.
grew up.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we came up here more to play ball, and that used to be an ice rink over there, and that's where I probably skated more than anything. My dad got the idea to make it a hockey rink one year, and once he realized how much work it was, I don't think he did it again.
Mhm.
So,
Any other questions for?
No, I think it makes logical sense and fits all the conforming requirements. I don't have any objections to splitting it.
thank you. Do I sit down then? or
Yeah,
do
you
have-
can-
Yeah, you can return it, yep. Thank you.
Do you want to close the public hearing?
I was just gonna ask are there any more public comments?
See none?
Hearing none, I am closing the public meeting public hearing at 6:19 PM.
Well, I agree with Mr. McPherson that it's not up to us. What's before us now has nothing to do with who can buy the property or if there's a variance. There's no variance before us. There's no variance to act on, and that would come before us. If there were to be a new owner that wants some sort of variance, that would come before us at that point. So
Mhm.
that would be the time to deal with it.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
in terms of Mr. Iverson's comments, not sure quite what he meant by parking.
I believe he parks in front of his house on the street.
Which is on Perkins.
No, he parks a car on Independence Road to slow traffic. I
Yep.
mean, it's like a,
Oh, I see.
Oh.
yeah.
All right,
And that's what he's talking about is
okay.
that in the future, he would be able, you can actually,
He wants
Yeah.
to be able to
See it
continue to do
there.
that.
yeah, that's his car.
Yep. I was kind of wondering, is that a
So, I mean,
speck of a car?
Yeah, I mean, that unfortunately another issue that's not really related to the subdivision, this property, but.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And one more driveway on Independence, I don't think is going to upset the traffic flow.
No.
This looks pretty straightforward to me and meets all the subdivision split ordinances. So I'm in support. I have one irrelevant question.
It's too small.
See if I have an answer.
Irrelevant to this,
Oh, I
or?
won't come and flood a hockey rink.
No, it's even more relevant than that. You said, I'm just looking at the layout of the back property lines here along, or
Yeah.
with your neighbors. Does the new line line up with the neighboring lines?
I think it lines up with the two on either side, but it's something I thought about, and it doesn't show the property line on that, but
I think it does.
it does show the.
No, it doesn't show it, but I think that it does if you look at the,
Yeah.
Hopefully that was thought through.
Well, I mean, you can see those jogs, right? There's But it seemed like when I measured, those were 50/50, and, here, going back to this one. So I think it does because it looks halfway, and
Based on the tree, it looks like it's pretty close to.
Yeah.
Like it
Mhm.
should
Yeah, the other
last.
ones look like they're not exactly half.
so
but-
see, this one is a jog to the north a little bit,
Mhm.
and this one here follows kind of that midline, and then this
Mhm.
one's jogged to the north. So I think it's right. I think it's right on it because it's the same distance, but yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if it was off 4 feet or something, it would
Or
kind of
off 6 inches, it's like, come on, just line it up, so
Mhm.
there's no, the future residents
Well,
don't have to worry
if
about
there's-
some sort of weird jog.
Yeah.
If there's pins back there, it makes the
Well,
survey
based on my
easy.
measurement,
Yeah.
it is, but
Okay.
yeah. The surveyor's got to confirm the drainage and utility easement anyway, so I can make them confirm that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and do we need to show any of those easements on this?
We do, but you don't. We're conditioning approval based on them revising and providing the proper legal descriptions for those drainage and utility easements.
And there's plenty of room for them, so.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so if I can get a motion to approve the minor subdivision subject to the applied requirements?
I'll
as
make
listed-
that motion.
Conditions?
I'll second
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, just say the same. Ayes have it, 4-0.
Great, that'll go to the city council on May
Like the
22nd.
22nd?
May 22nd, yeah.
Something like that.
Will you give us something of what you want on that survey, or will you call the surveyors?
Yeah, I have, I mean, I can tell them, so I'll have that condition for you, and that's something that I can either give to you, or I can give it to,
Either one.
I'll give it to you guys.
Okay.
I mean, I'll send you an email with it,
Okay.
or, yeah.
Will you get it to me soon, so I can get it to them, and make sure we get it for that May 22nd?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Took a long time to get the survey, just they're so busy,
Yeah,
and the snow didn't help, but.
No,
Yeah,
who is the?
snow and weather.
Kronberg,
Oh, yeah, Mark knows.
yeah.
So, yeah, I can, you know what I'll do is I'll copy Mark on
Okay,
that email.
great. Awesome.
We deal with him all the time on stuff, so,
Yeah, that's why I use them.
yeah, he'll know,
Okay.
so,
Awesome, thank you.
yep.
Any other reports or other business?
I guess I'd like to get an update on some of the past projects or past items that came before us that I don't see any action on. It's been a while, like, two I'm thinking of would be the apartments off of Bud, and then the other would be the subdivision off of Baker Park Road that was like 5 lots.
Sure. Honorable Chair, Commissioners, so the apartment building on Bud, I've talked to the architect a couple of times. He tells me that they're still working on submitting something. I think the developer is just trying to see where the market is and where rates are going. And so that they kind of just put it on a little bit of a hold, but he keeps telling me that they think they're going to come forward with it. And then the 1701 Baker Park, Hennepin County had a little bit of change in their staff for our area. So we had submitted this to one of their staff. He ended up going to a private sector, and then they had a little gap in the staff. So their review then came back with a comment that they wanted the drainage, stormwater drainage completely out of the right-of-way, and they were asking for an additional 17 feet of right-of-way on that portion of the road. So we kind of went back and forth and landed on a kind of acceptable additional dedication, and the applicant had to go back and rework their stormwater. And so I think we've got resolution on that as of this week even. And then they're planning on moving forward, so.
What was the purpose of the additional right-of-way?
Well, Hennepin County has asked for that additional 17 feet to give them a 100-foot right-of-way. So if you think about it, they've got 33 feet, and then they want 17 more to make it a 50-foot half right-of-way for future expansion of the county road. And so it's actually pretty common that they've asked for it. We just haven't done a lot with it here. And then if you look at our section of road through here, I mean, this is really kind of an anomaly of a property in that it's going to completely redevelop, whereas most of those residential properties aren't. So initially they had commented to me that they were probably not gonna seek that additional right of way. And then with the changeover, they asked for it. And it's something we've typically supported. I mean, on the Cassia property or the Elam property, we supported, the dedication, but that's a totally kind of different
Yeah.
deal.
Commercial.
And then in areas where we have more rural properties where they could redevelop in the future, we have typically looked at. But if you look at that little stretch, it's really kind of hard to see how we're going to get 17 additional feet along that whole thing anytime soon.
Yeah. they're-
So it is what it is, and the owners agreed to provide it. And, Hennepin County, it's not a taking, they're asking for it through the subdivision process by asking the city to require it. And that's how we've typically done it. But the developer agreed to dedicate it. We were just trying to figure out the stormwater piece because initially their stormwater went out to the edge of that, so.
Would that need to come back to us again then?
No, because it's not changing at all any of the kind of materialness of the development. Now, if they came back and said we need to start moving lot lines and stuff, then that would be different. But what they're dedicating is through an easement. So it'd be the
So-
dedication of additional right-of-way
The
through the
lot,
easement.
the lot configuration stays the same?
Stays exactly
so far,
the same.
From what you know?
If they can get this all through, so Watershed's reviewing it, and then we reviewed it, and I think we've got consensus on just the revision to the stormwater piece only. And then dedication of this 17 feet of easement, so,
Great.
yeah.
Thanks.
So that's where that is. I think that's gonna go, though. I think we'll get that done here in the next couple weeks, and that's ready to go then.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
I know I've purposely driven by just to see if anything's happened. And
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, the guys who are developing, I mean, they're not like a big outfit, right? So this is kind of a side project, if you will, for them. So they're trying to work it through the process, but it's a small lot with some complications, and this stormwater thing is, I mean, there's some onerous requirements on the stormwater relating to this. I mean, and so they're trying to just, we're trying to help them make it all work, so, yeah.
I have one question that a citizen asked is just, is there any plans for like the welcome signs to Maple Plain to be updated or repaired? As someone, I got a comment since,
You should ask your council member.
Just remember update.
We have discussed the need of updating the signs, the three signs.
yes. Thank you.
thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Have a great evening.
We've collected pictures, Grant has collected pictures from us of monuments that we like from other cities. With Administrator Hadler now gone, kind of hanging in limbo
Okay.
on that, because we're focusing attention on downtown development
Mm-hmm.
and different things. But it's one of our workshop topics that we know it needs to be dealt with.
You just want the money.
Well, I mean, money would be nice too,
Mhm.
but, the one
Yeah.
that's over by Moni's gets lost. You don't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
And even the one down by the railroad bridge. Once, by end of summer, the grass is so tall, you can't see the
Mm.
sign.
And don't forget about the one on Baker Park Road.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
right. Well, and the park does a nice job. I think it's the park that mows around it all the time.
I don't know.
But yeah,
Well,
we know.
Mowing's great, but the sign.
Right, right, and we know that they need to be updated. We're just
Even the flag is pretty ragged.
trying to figure out how to tackle it.
Okay. Yeah, it was just someone made a comment, I guess specifically to the one by
I mean,
Baker Park, that it was.
If they have
looking
an
tough.
idea, they're more than welcome to share it with us, to
Okay.
send it to City Hall and our interim administrator, and Grant, they'll get it put on one of our workshop topics.
Yeah, I,
welcome to the input.
yeah, I strongly supported the concept. I've brought it up many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're open to ideas, design ideas,
Yeah, it's, you know,
the more the merrier.
the more ideas we get, the better, because
Mhm.
we might start to see a theme and make it easier to make that decision. So, yeah, if you have ideas, even if it's a picture drawn in crayon, give us an idea. So,
Well, thanks for the update.
yep, you're welcome.
Any other topics? Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say the same. Ayes have it, 4-0. Have a great evening.
Have